Winter is back, and it has not slowed me down one little bit. The doors behind me, they're all finished, and we'll go through all of that. I have another door on the inside that I worked on quite a bit. The boiler, a little bit of progress there. A little bit of plumbing to help the boiler project. And more prep for sheetrock. Oh, and the gutters got installed. All right, let's get into this week's progress. Well, good morning. It's Monday. First order of business is we're still trying to get these doors done and do the final details on the outside. So some things might have to change on how we do some things. With that in mind, first thing I'm gonna do is create a warm space so that we can put the final coat of paint on the two doors that we were working on last week. Oh, then we're gonna do a dump run while that space is warming up. Yeah, oh, we gotta get the hinge back on this door here. And I need the screw gun, so we're gonna do that first and then create a warm space. So sheetrock just showed up. You know, they said they're about a week and a half out, which means they're probably 2 to 3 weeks out. What did I do with that hinge? Oh, there it is. So that is where we stand with that. Well, it's not entirely ideal, but I think it's gonna work just fine. All the exterior walls in this space are insulated, so it's gonna stay relatively warm-ish in here. Just having a heater in here just for a few minutes, it's already changed how much warmer it is. So I should be able to work on these doors, get them painted, and at least get this project done before the real cold really settles in. So now the next thing is to do the dump run while this space continues to warm up. Let's go do that. Well, we have 2 extra obstacles today that I wasn't planning on. One being, my scrap metal guy hasn't showed up yet to pull out this stuff. And, well, we have a completely flat tire. Hey, and I can't find my air chuck. So that means I need to run over to Napa or AutoZone or one of them and see if I can purchase myself a new air chuck. I really don't hope we don't have a sidewall problem. Can't be buying new tires right now. Oh, we'll find out. First things first, let's get some air in it, find out where the leak is, and then go from there. Well, I found the leak to the tire. It is right here. So I'm gonna do exactly what they tell you not to do when patching a tire. Now, it's because it's within an inch of the sidewall, you're not supposed to put a plug or patch or anything. They're notorious for not holding, but I need to do this as an emergency repair, and that's what I'm gonna do. So, do as I say, not as I do. Well, the dump run was pretty successful. The tire held, so I'll double check the air pressure here a little bit, but a ton of material is still stuck to the bottom of the trailer because we had done a ton of sawing in the last couple of months, and all that sawdust got soaked. And this trailer's been sitting here a good long time. When we refaced the fireplace, all that extra chipped up mortar and broken bricks and all that stuff, that was all in there too. So about half of the trailer, there's a bunch of stuff just frozen right to the bottom. So what I want to do is I'll jump in there, I'll chip up that as much as I can. I did purposely drive over some potholes to try to, kind of break it up that way. But if I can get that broken up, then I'm thinking the best course of action right now is to clean the house as much as possible. Get everything in the dump trailer we don't need anymore and do another run. Because we have weather coming in that's gonna be kind of wet and mixture of snow and rain. And if that freezes up again, what a pain it'll be. Because we really need the trailer cleaned out. Maybe. Got a project coming up that we gotta use the dump trailer for, and it'd really be nice to have that thing cleaned out. So I think that's the best course of action for the foreseeable future. And then hopefully we can still have a little bit of time to paint those doors, not waste all that time. But first of all, I need a snack. I am flipping hungry. But the cold, it just takes it right out of you. Well, per usual, my plans completely changed. I ended up just jockeying the trailers around, so now both trailers are back in the driveway, and ended up, chipping up a bunch of that frozen stuff, as you saw. I said, that's gonna be ready for tomorrow. I did start loading it up and started putting tools away in the tool trailer. And just really you have to do a deep clean on the house, get everything out, do a thorough walkthrough, make sure there's nothing else needs to be done before sheetrock goes in. And there are a couple of things I do know about. The plumbing to the washing machine drain, that needs to be finished up. And a couple of studs where we keep walking through where the warm room is right now. Those have to go in. Outside of that, I really can't think of much. We have that snow coming. So maybe it'd be a smart idea to get that roof penetration for the propane insert for the fireplace. That would be smart. Oh, I hope I remember to do that tomorrow. I guess I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's gonna be another cold one today. But that's fine. It's gonna be super sunny and beautiful. But tonight, we're getting a snowstorm coming in. Even issued a winter weather advisory. But what does that mean for me and Frankie? Well, that means I want to get everything that we're going to throw out into the dump trailer, get that hauled off to the dump, and get that emptied before the snow hits. Because if I can get that emptied and clean out, then if the snow hits, then I'm going to shovel the snow out, and then I don't have to pay to remove the snow. If you follow along. So, so I've already got the heater going in the warm room, so we can get those doors painted, and they're straight in the cleaning. And that's what it's all gonna be about, going through every piece of random material that I have stashed away. If it's usable, we're gonna keep it. If not, off to the dump it goes. And I am keeping in mind a woodshed project that I have going on at home, and I might be able to repurpose some stuff from here to do that. 'Cause, if it's usable, why throw it out, right? But if I'm gonna be tripping over it, can't have it. And the sheetrockers told me that the house needs to be completely cleaned out. I did ask if I could have stuff in the basement and then put stuff in the upstairs, while they're working around it. And they said they could do that, but they would do the entire upstairs, start to finish, and then come back to do the downstairs. That's not okay. No. I'm not waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. No. So I want to get them here, get them dedicated to the project, keep them here until they are done. So what does that mean? It means we have to go through a lot of stuff today. That's what it means. It means I gotta stop talking. Also sounds like I've had a little too much coffee this morning. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? I don't think so. Let's go! Alright, so the room is warmed up nicely. And we can get another coat of paint on here. Unfortunately, this whole waiting to let the room warm up and then come in here and paint, it's taking this door project a little too long for my liking. It is only Tuesday, so that's good. But still, I'd like to get something done. But That's one of the things you have to be, you know, hypercritical over when doing a major renovation like this is the objective of the day is a moving target, man. It is constantly moving. You always have to keep everything in check. And you know, making sure you do a good job really has to be the number one priority. So having to wait to let the room warm up, get the paint on, it's just part of the deal. So I almost forgot about doing this penetration before it snows so heavily. So what I want to do is I want to go, you know, perfectly straight up from here. Now, you don't want to make a tight fit from the sheathing to your pipe. Just in case this outer pipe gets a little too hot, we don't want to have any problems. So what I like to do is I'll take my level. Hopefully it fits in here. Ah, it doesn't fit. No way. Oh, bummer. How big is this? And of course it's 29 inches. Okay, so, all right, I'll go grab the little extension and then the 2-foot level, and we'll do it that way. Yeah. So you just hold on right there. Don't go anywhere. What I want to do is verify that I am good and plumb. And it is spot on. So, I'm gonna come up. Now if I wanted the hole to be tight, I'd mark the the inside. I don't want it tight. So I'm gonna put my level sideways. The mark. 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 Now the flashing that goes on the roof side is so much bigger than even that hole there. It will have no problems protecting the house from water and giving enough of an air gap so it doesn't superheat this if this were to ever have a problem. Now I'll drill a hole, probably a couple of holes, and then, you know, cut it all out with the jigsaw. Put on the bigger pipe and then flash it on the outside. Well, it's end of day Tuesday, and I think it was pretty successful. We actually accomplished everything we set out to do today, even though I forgot about that stove pipe that was supposed to go up through the roof, or B-vent, sorry. Gotta say the right thing here. That's completed. All the miscellaneous trash delivered to the dump. A lot of the cleanup in the basement happened, at least. That was really good. And the doors got painted, which I think we have just enough time to go down and put one more coat on that little door if it's ready, if it's dry enough. We'll see. It didn't get terribly cold today, so if that space can stay warm long enough for it to dry, so maybe what I'll do is put a quick coat of paint on it, stay here a little bit late and do some more cleaning and kind of keep an eye on it. I definitely do not want to leave a heater running all night. No, don't want to do that. That's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to skedaddle. But with it getting as dark as it is, it's getting really hard to film. So I will say good night now, and see you in the morning. Good morning. It's Thursday. That's right. I said Thursday. I did not work yesterday. Well, not here anyway. Yeah, I am trying to keep a business running in the background of this project. So I had to stay home and work on invoices and contacting customers and vendors, setting up the next job and all that stuff. So I needed a day at home. That's fine. Anyway, where are we starting today? This door. So I checked the doors just now and they look great. They're ready to be worked on to get fitted for this space. And I'm going to do a very simple install on this. I'm not going to create door jambs and all that. There's a very simple way to trim it out to make it look really nice and have the door stops and have it really, really stout. And that's really my focus on this install. That's it. I'm just going to do it. And 9/16 within a 16th. That's plenty good for especially wood framing. Yes, we'll go verify the doors. We got a little bit of shaving to do with a chisel, and it's important to measure at all three locations just to make sure. If there's a heavy bow in the center where your center hinge is going to go, you're going to want to plane that down. And there is a bit of a bow here. We could do that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, actually. I mean, it's only a 16th, but yeah, that side's nice and flat. It'll take a little bit of a bind out of the hinge, too. That's what we're going to do. Let's plane that. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to make sure I check for nails. Because the blades on a planer, they're super sharp, but very thin. And they do not take an impact very well. And this blade's already chipped up pretty good. So I want to make sure it's still viable, still usable. So let's grab a nail set and a hammer and, Ah! It's getting a little windy out. We'll just reset these nails. Let's plane this thing. Oops. I need a different adapter. Forgot about that. Well, I guess we're going to try the catch bag. I did not find my adapter. So you can see where I planed and where I didn't. So the thickest part was right about here. So I want to make sure I made the space as wide as possible here, but then I want to feather it out as well to make it consistent all the way across. And she's spot on now. I've got a couple of bins that came with the house of random hardware and stuff. Digging through all that, trying to put a hinge together. Because I want to have 3 hinges on this door. Originally it only had 2, and while painting it I can see that there's a twist in the door, and to get the door to operate correctly, especially being a double door now, it's pretty important that you have it as rigid as possible. So what I'm going to do is add a third hinge in here, and that'll really help alleviate that twist that's in the door and make it a bit firmer. I do have to be concerned about this here, because this was originally where the lock set was of this door. And luckily, that door, the hinge is upward a little bit more, so we're gonna go ahead and match that, and it puts the door hinge right there. So I get to avoid that, which is awesome. But I tell you, watching those guys work out there on that gutter system, it's awesome. Like, the amount of time I spent messing around trying to put hinges together. They hung a gutter across the entire front of the house. Awesome. If anything, I'm a little jealous that they're so well oiled. So now it's just as simple as setting the router depth to the thickness of the hinge, like so. Now I know that you can make yourself a jig to mount to this, and then just run your router in there and willy-nilly and be done with it. I find it faster just to do it this way. So, you know, is it right, is it wrong? I mean, it's a little bit harder this way, but it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Now watch I say that, the router's gonna run out on me. I do want that hearing protection again though, because that thing is also wicked loud. All right, as you guys just saw, gutters got installed, and I've got Larry here from Bigor's Gutters, and I wanted to ask him one question that I hear more times than not as a home inspector, is when I ask the client, or I tell the client they need to have gutters on the house, I hear this response, which is, it's the Adirondacks. You can't put gutters on a house because of ice damming.
You can put gutters on homes anywhere, really. You just have to make sure they're well secured, they're anchored proper, and water is gonna freeze in them. But I mean, if they're well anchored, it's gonna unthaw and they're gonna drain. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have them. That you really should have them because of summer months where splash up, the whole 9 yards, back up.
And when you're talking about splash up, you're talking about splash up against the house.
Yeah, in the summer, summertime where, splash down and back on the wood siding where you're going to ruin it, you're going to rot it, you're going to do whatever. So you really do need it. And I mean, you wouldn't want to put gutters up and take them down in the winter.
No.
If you have plenty of anchors, plenty of hooks in it,
If, as a basic rule, what would you say is an adequate number of anchors per span?
We span them about 16 inches on a shingle roof and about 12 inches on a metal roof. Because in metal you have a little more snow volume, it may come off a little quicker. And we try to stay below, they call the snow slide, so it's a little bit lower, so if it does happen to snow come off or ice come off, it will hopefully go over the top of the gutter without really anchoring too much of the gutter and pulling it off.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's about all I have. Well, Larry, I can't thank you enough for coming out in this weather and getting these gutters on the house. I really appreciate it. If you guys are local and you're looking to get some gutters, Bigor's Gutters, find you on bigorsgutters.com type of thing. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for watching. Oh, thanks again, anyway.
Thank you.
Earlier, I said I was working on the hinges, and I mean, look at that. It doesn't go any smoother than that. Take them apart, clean out the rust, sprayed it down with this stuff, and she's good to go. Good morning. It is Friday and it is a snowy one. I love the snow. If you didn't know, I love the snow. So, the doors. I finished them last night. Fully installed, all the details are done. We can move on to the next project. But I wanted to show you the details around it first. The first thing was, when I was designing the doors, I wanted them to in-swing. If your snow blower's in here, or shovel, how are you gonna get in if there's a foot of snow in front of it? So, an in-swing gets you in, you shovel your way out, and you're all set. At least that's my thought process. And, right, so before it was all exposed framing on the inside here, and it's now all covered up nicely with some trim. So we have rough cut here and here. This is a lot smoother. I didn't put any sort of details on it. I went quick and dirty on this one and just made the door stops. So it's nice and tight all the way around the door. So that's all set. And the center detail here, so because you have two doors, you have to have a strike here as well. And I was gonna do this in green, but I got to looking at it and I was thinking, you know, that's just too much green. So I went ahead and ripped up a piece and put stain on it. And I think it ties the building up a little bit better and makes a less sea of green right here. You know, the other doors have different details in them. And so I gave this door this detail. So put a comment down below what you think, if you would have rather have seen green here or the stain there. I like the stain. Of course, I'm the one who did it. So for the interior detail, and in order to keep this door nice and firm, I added one of these guys here because, well, I had one sitting in my trailer. And so you just pop that up. And then on the bottom, we've got this little catch here to secure the bottom. Pop it up, slide it over. So this mechanism I saved from the shed that was in the backyard. And there's this neat little shed back here. Someone had used it as a workshop. And I saw it on the door. I'm like, well, that could be handy. Sure enough, there it is. And then, you know, door is nicely opened and closes. Secure that. Secure that. And you just have a normal door. So what I'm gonna do is, the boiler guy's supposed to be here today. And if he can get me up and running to at least have one zone operational, we can cut the chill in here so that when sheetrock happens, we can have them do the mudding and priming and painting and all that stuff. And as soon as the ceiling goes in, I will be here to be blowing the insulation in so we can, you know, start retaining some of the money I'm spending on heat. But the way timing has been happening, I can't have any sort of comfort in the idea of bringing the boiler guy back to make sure the boiler gets turned on in time for mud work for the sheetrock. That's just too tight of a window, and I don't trust, well, anyone anymore on timing. So with that said, we have to secure this area behind me. We need to get this draped off. We need to, because the heater's gonna go up in the corner over here, I gotta make sure that the heat can stay in that space, and any other old window penetration, the little crawl space penetration over in the far corner. We need to get all these sections blocked off to try to keep as much heat as possible in that area. And then just let the rest of the house be cold. We also need to put some, isolation valves in the plumbing system so that we don't have water going anywhere else in the house but to the boiler and the two heating elements. So the next step to isolating the basement space is going to be this door here. And it clearly doesn't close. So, gotta figure out why. So it's hitting here, and you can see this thing is bowed out pretty hard. I'm gonna grab some pry bars and see if we can't get this thing pried open far enough to get that rock out of there. We'll start there. The thing that doesn't make any sense, they came in and packed the backside of this door with a modern cement. And they did it with the wood in the bowed position, which is crazy. Yeah, hard telling, not knowing. Now I got this part of the jamb pretty straight. I mean, it's touching in several locations now, so that's good. But because the way the house is now settled and the way that this thing was cemented in on both sides, I'm hard pressed to get it back to its original form. So what I'm gonna do is I'll throw some tap cons in this, get it secured. I'll just pull the door off and we'll take, I don't know, 1/4 inch off the back side, off the hinge side. Now that I say that, I don't have a whole lot of meat to work with because they screwed this panel on with a flathead screw that's pretty rusty. So I'm guessing that it's not gonna want to come apart. And when they originally mortised in, these hinges have been replaced. That's what I'm feeling. So when I close the door, I can feel the door bind as if there was something stuck between the jamb and the door itself, and it's not, that's not the case. The next obstacle with this door, like I was saying, these hinges got replaced, right? And what I was talking about earlier is that the thickness of the plates aren't the same as the old hinges that used to be here. So you have this lip that's here. So what was happening is when this was mortised into the door face and the jamb face were touching and not allowing the door to close all the way. Now I have the door able to close, but the problem is that, again, with the hinges being incorrect, the distance between the leading edge of the hinge and the actual hinge section of it is shorter than what the originals used to be, which means the door it isn't far enough away from the door stop. So now when you close the door, this edge of the door is touching this part of the door stop. Oi. So now what I'm going to do is just cut a rabbet into the edge of this and work around it. The only hard part is that some of the old screws are still in it. So I'll take the door back off, router the edges so that it rabbits over the top of this, and try it again. Just gotta keep looking. Keep looking. There you go. 130-year-old door with the wrong hinges works like a charm. The original 130-year-old latching system still works like a charm. Ah, that's exciting. Super rudimentary, but works. What else do you need? That makes me excited. Well, that'll do it for this week. Thanks for stopping by High Peaks Home. Oh, if you were interested in where that door came from that we put in the driveway over there, go check out this video here. It doesn't have the door removal, but it's the house it came from. All right, till next week.